Welcome, everyone. Happy to have Johnny here. We're going to have Captain Kirk here in a second. Just real quick, some housekeeping items. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Please. If you have questions or comments and you want to kind of be interactive with the stream, I suggest posting those on YouTube because those actually show up here and we can post them here and talk about them. And one last thing is big thank you to everybody. Pretty much, I had this channel just kind of like to mess around with for like a long time. I kept like an old Bitcoin video there where, I just kept it for my own sake, and it was under 4K, and I was like, I'll just keep this around because I'm buying here, and I wanted it kind of as a personal memento, so the channel just stuck around, and so I've been getting more involved. Of course, HEX happened. So here we are, and like a week later, y'all, like it was like 100 subscribers overnight, so you guys are awesome. Anyway, now to the matters at hand. Well, a lot has happened in the past week. I'll bring in Captain Kirk as well. And Coffee, what's up?
What's going on, guys?
What's up? So, I guess, Hexo kind of alluded to it, but I don't know if we want to name names or how you want to go about it. I'll leave it up to you, Mr. Chaos, because I think you want to open up.
Well, it's
go right ahead. I'll just
not necessarily about any individuals. It's not necessarily about individuals. I mean, we the way we've started off, we've had people come and go and move from thing to thing, and that tends to happen in the crypto space, and that's all right. Where it becomes a problem is when influencers don't really have a concern about their following, and it's very important. There's a certain obligation that the influencer has, a certain responsibility to not direct people into things that could be potentially harm them. Obviously everybody's grown up, they can make their own decisions and stuff like that, but that's something that bothers me, especially when it comes to finance. And we want the viewers to know, no matter what the project is, whether it's the project we support or another project, you should never, ever invest more than you're willing to lose, because cryptocurrency is volatile and it can go up and down. And, even though HEX encourages people to hold, it still has volatility just like anything else does. And, you can make mistakes and you can lose. So you have to be aware of that and know what you're getting into. You don't just bet the farm. You don't take out loans. You don't, drop that. We have people that literally are talking about ending their life because they got into some projects that have went down really quick. And you should never be in a position where the digits in your bank account dictate your value as a human being. So don't put yourself in that position to begin with. So don't ever, ever invest more than you're willing to lose in any crypto project, regardless of how much you believe in it.
Wait, so I shouldn't have put my life savings in HEX?
No.
Shit. All right, guys, I gotta go. No, I know.
And I kind of kicked myself, man. I could have dropped 10 grand in it just like that, and I didn't. I had to be willing to lose the amount of money that I put in. So, I could be sitting on $1 million right now, but again, you have to act responsibly, regardless of how much you believe in a project.
Yeah, I get that.
Kirk, you on mute, buddy?
Yeah, he's on mute. Or your mic's not in.
Yeah, can't hear you, man.
Kirk?
That should be
right.
There we go.
There he is.
Yeah. Sorry about that, yeah. Wrong drive.
Man, such a somber note. I just killed everybody right here and there. It's like, damn, Johnny, what a downer.
No, you you gave us an out. You gave us an out. You said, as long as you're willing to lose it. So if you want to put in all of your life savings, by all means, go for it. Just be willing to lose it. That's all.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you got to be willing to lose it.
Yeah. Like you can pay a price,
right.
That's for sure. And I mean, I'm not saying don't, I've seen people that have taken out loans and then done well. It happens, but I mean, I've also seen a blind squirrel find a nut. It happens from time to time, like it's,
yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, we got to be careful of what we say on YouTube and all that, but we're talking about crypto, and crypto is finance, and that's an emotional subject for a lot of people. When people lose money, they get very, very upset, and they look for anybody else to blame besides themselves. And so being a crypto YouTuber in general, you get a lot of hate because, people just don't have whatever bag you have. And you really can't win with trying to please everybody. I've realized some people aren't going to like what you like, and that's fine. But, I do try my best not to get anybody wrecked. And I do think you have to realize that your words carry a lot of weight, because as much as we say, hey, no financial advice here, I mean, come on, guys. Like people are pressing the buy button based on shit they hear on YouTube. And it's like, what can you tell them? Oh, don't get your information all from one source. Okay, so just listen to 10 guys that don't know what they're talking about and be confused. I mean, it's a free for all out there. It's like the Wild West. And so, I mean, I always preach personal responsibility as well. I don't think there's there's only so much a YouTuber can do to get somebody to think for themselves. Because at the end of the day, they're coming to you for learning about why this might or might not be a good investment. So it's a really tricky, almost paradoxical situation. It's unavoidable. I mean, all you can do, at least on my end, personally, I just try to be level-headed, not cause a scene or blow anything up or whatever. And the only reason I made my channel is because HEX is the most sound, argument that I've seen in any crypto project. And I'm not going to deny the flaws either. I mean, what just happened was, I think, we had a person bring up, several flaws in FUD from maybe 3 months ago that I don't think, he had ever maybe fully processed or wanted to bring it back up again. And we all have to be okay with the fact that the origin address owns 50 to 75% of the coins. And we have to explain that to other people of why that's okay versus other coins. The difference between technical decentralization and economic decentralization, they're not the same. And if you want to get really theoretical, these concepts of decentralization and trustlessness are very elusive, and they break down under scrutiny. But I think HEX is the closest thing we have. So,
I agree.
I agree with that. I mean, I agree with all that. And I mean, I think that, of course, that other copies or other things, like if we're doing it right, people are going to copy our, the things that work in HEX, So I mean, and in all of it, there will be another product or something else out there that is very close to what what HEX code has in it, like it or not, even if it's not all right, it's all rights reserved and everything, but ideally, I think that HEX is a lot bigger than just I do really think that it has a lot more going for it than just I mean, the software is fantastic, but it's created a community out of it that really is much bigger. I mean, there's marketing going on. There's whales that are doing good things in the system. There's a community that is actually creating all these videos and all this shit. There's a lot of that. I don't see that in any other project, and that gives a huge edge that it's going to be hard to replicate in this crypto space.
Yeah, it's the massive community, it's the massive marketing behind it, and it's all of us, the cohesion as a team, and that's why it can feel so painful when someone you thought was on your team and always is able to come back anytime seems like they're defecting by following another shiny object, and that's no shame in that. I mean, I've done that too, on the side. I've looked into things and, not really spoken publicly about them, but it's going to be interesting with the copycats in the future, because there will be, everyone seems to get hung up on this, the OA, right? It's always the OA and the ownership percentage and the economic centralization. That's all it comes back to. That, and, people like to fight with Richard Hart. I don't like Richard Hart's personality. That's an argument too. If that turns you off to the coin, then, you can FOMO in later. That's okay. But where was I going with this? the copycats are going to try to pick apart the OA principle, and they're probably going to do the exact same thing that HEX is doing, but with no centralized or no economic whales. Let's just call them economic whales, right? So we already know about one, right? We know of one that is in progress, allegedly, which I'm not going to name the name of, but that they're apparently going to do a fair distribution. And then we'll really be able to see, does Tragedy of the Commons play out like it always has in the past? I think it will. But now we'll get to see like proof of that. So when we have these copycats that claim to, fix HEX, just like everyone wants to fix Bitcoin and all that, we're going to see Tragedy of the Commons in action. At least that's my gamble.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if you see this sort of community development that happened, behind any of that stuff too. That's something that I have to say that that I bring up about that is it's not just about shilling other shiny objects and stuff. It's like to do it on one of our limited platform. Like HEX already has pretty limited public positive platforms that we have for ourselves. We are creating them in our ourselves, so to suck brain space away to talk about something else on one of them, seems silly to me. In a lot of ways we're trying to replicate a lot of what works in the real business world in the crypto world. That's what HEX is designed to do in a lot of ways, and we are doing that in just of our how we're approaching it as influencers or whatever. And in the same way, you're not gonna if you work for Coca-Cola, if you're just a worker for Coca-Cola, you cannot drink Pepsi on the job. You will get fired if somebody catches you drinking a Pepsi on the job as a Coca-Cola employee. That's
but I'm not even that upset. That's a valid point, but I'm not that upset about people talking about other coins. To me, that's
I'm not either. I'm just saying it's about the placement of it. It's like your space and time that you're choosing to do that. It's like.
And granted, though, it was Discourse Syndicate, which is supposed to be a little more open-ended, so I get that. You have to be careful, like Johnny Chaos said, of who whenever you speak about anything, people are going to rush to go buy it, whether or not you actually said it was a good investment. Because if you listen to GT, closely, he's not saying it's a guaranteed go up. He's very skeptical of it, but people don't listen to that kind of thing, and they go all in, or they'll dump their one bag for another bag.
Again, it's a level of showmanship to come at. Richard's he's a pretty approachable person in Telegram. You can ask him questions and he's going to answer you. So to do it in a public manner like that on a medium of ours that we use to promote HEX positively in that sort of way is just it's and then at the other end of it is oh well, there goes the fun of that. You think Richard's just gonna come by and pop on an open-ended place like that anymore ever? I wouldn't. Fuck that. Now I'm gonna be attacked by some rando that's on there, some bum from buttfuck wherever that wants to fucking argue with me about shit that's already been discussed 7 times over. I don't think so.
And I think and that's the difference too. Some people got into this at different times, and everybody wants to get an answer to their question, but they all want a different, unique, special answer for just them, right? Even though we've answered it a million times in the past. And I get it if you're new to HEX and you find out, oh man, there's all these whales that own 50 to 75%. Should I be concerned about this? People don't want to click !ETH in the at HEX AA Telegram channel and read. That's hard too. But at the end of the day, I think these things will win and lose based on meritocracy. So I don't know if I don't know. I'm tired, man. I've been moving, and I don't know. I just don't have time to deal with all this, drama.
No, I don't
I'm not trying to take a stance, if anyone on anyone's side, really.
No, and honestly, I think that, like I said, it's from a brand, management situation. This is what now what we have to do is Richard. You heard it when Richard was ugh, this just takes longer because now we have to section off what we just had to deal with, talk about it, forget about it, and then now have everybody that's still here afterwards be okay, guys, remember what our concerted goal is here. Okay, now we move forward. But it's just a time suck. That does.
Yeah, I get that.
I think I think it was the build up to it for me, and GT has always been a nice guy to me. I actually asked him on last stream, but I just think from my perspective, things could have been handled differently on multiple situations, with multiple situations. First thing is the Hexy bit. He kind of like went after that or whatever. And if you really think about that, that's kind of what he's saying that Richard is doing, you know, kind of in reverse. Like he went after, you know, something that was talking about Hex, and now it's on something else, which is funny. And that the way that whole situation played, I just think it could have been a much smoother conversation if we're all a community here. And it wasn't. I mean, granted, he was right. I was right. I didn't touch it. I was very skeptical of it, but I think it also has to deal with who you're dealing with. And if you are part of a community, then obviously, especially if you're the founder of the project, you don't want somebody shit talking your project or product now, and having that possibly tainted in some way, especially if the person has more followers or is of more influence. And then, you know, you can see, you know, one coin, you know, money goes here, money comes out of here. And that would piss me off too. And I'd be protective about it. And it just kind of escalated and escalated.
Yeah.
And
I think it's okay to be protective and, you know, speak in marketing speak. I mean, if we're all trying to promote this coin, we don't want to hide the OA's existence. But I think both parties, and I'm just catching up on everything. I watched the 4-hour stream yesterday, but both parties were kind of talking past each other in a way. I mean, talking about different points at the same time. And I was like, oh, you guys aren't even, you know, you're arguing different points right now. You know, it's about one person's talking about the OA and the other person's talking about why Ample sucks. And it's like very, very different things going on. So I don't know what to make of it all, but you can't deny, you know, when you're trying to promote something, any newcomer into HEX is eventually going to find out about the OA. They're going to have questions, but we can handle that in a responsible way by directing them to, you know, the given answers and the tens, hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of live streams that explain all about that. Albeit these might be hard to dig up right now, so maybe we can do a better job of digging up those old streams, you know. But that's another thing too. I don't think that the OA issue is anything new, and it's there, and it's nothing new. But in addition to that, just getting off the subject of so-called promise coins, and you know, jumping into an actual promise coin, and then basically bashing HEX for not promising anything, because the OA can't promise anything to not be a security. So that's the idea behind it. I'm sure the OA wishes it could promise a lot, but it simply, its hands are tied in terms of it can't promise anything. And that's also why HEX is a great coin, because there's no promises.
yeah, and the whole shift, I think, is a little weird because, you know, the OA is your friend for all this time, and then you have a spat, and then you go directly to, you know, trying to pick apart things that, again, we all know about, and it's old and we've heard it. And, you know, and then, you know, I'm a member of many different Telegram chats under a few names, and I see them in a rec room and talking shit, posting screenshots. I'm like, this is what it's turned into. We're better than this. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, the whole, I mean, it's very odd, right? It's very strange behavior. I don't know.
When we get to,
Go ahead, Gary.
So I don't know him extremely well, but I've known Tim Draper for about 5 years, maybe directly, as far as every time we're at a meeting or something, friendly hellos and so forth. But I've heard his talks for quite some time. Him and Roger Ver, in my opinion, share similar principles. And even though it's not spoken of as loudly by Richard is a principled person. A lot of people really come at him, and like you heard the other day, the Miami voice comes out, the Miami attitude comes out, the genius comes out too, right? So it kind of is a trade-off. The volatility to a degree of, do you have soft interpersonal skills of how you communicate versus the principles you stand on. So what I'm getting at is that for quite some time, even though Tim Draper has a pretty big stake in Bitcoin, he's never said Bitcoin or nothing else. He's always, and his son too, Adam, is very much about experimentation, principled companies forming around the crypto space and so forth. And I just listened last night. It was a good investment again to listen to it again. But basically the conversation between Roger Ver and Richard, that was about a 6-hour stream, if you guys remember, from December. There's really just amazing nuggets inside of that about the two sides that at one time were at war with each other. At one time they were at war with each other because Richard was more of a Bitcoin maximalist in that view, protecting his bags before his reality had changed. And really Roger was advocating that people should choose what will work for them based on the utility they're seeking. So Roger obviously is invested in lots of different crypto companies. Some of them are flops, some of them have done terrible, but he does have principle. His principle is what works for that use case. When it comes to HEX and the brand and the principles of HEX, I believe that they're distilled. And I just think that they're distilled because of Richard's experiences, both entrepreneurial, as an individual, as a wise person of a lot of different chapters of life, and crypto and trading. And what happens at the end of the day to traders, meat grinder. What happens at the end of the day to people referred to trading exchanges and things like that, you may have a short-term profit, but it goes against the principle of crypto really from its origin, from its beginning. Why is this here? I've heard so many things over the past couple of days about how we need to basically convert the concept of crypto into a conventional product so that conventional banks and central authorities can rule over it or enable the masses, whatever frame you want to put out there. And what I think that really came down to was my sense of, even though I'm disheartened over GT specifically, I'm disheartened over my belief that his principles were attracted to HEX versus other crypto because of how it's been formed, how it's been coded, how it's mathematical and it's not individual or gated. Where that all flipped is because I realized that he's a trader, T-R-A-D-E-R, trader. And as a trader, you're looking for volatility. You're looking for opportunity to get in low, sell high. And I didn't realize that. I didn't know about that him specifically. But again, the reason I'm on this stream is not to talk about one individual, because this will happen again and again and again and again in the HEX product space. And I just wanted to frame that the way that I see HEX is exactly as it's been put out by Richard, who just is the primary spokesperson for it, founder for it, creator of it, funder probably of the dev of it, all these other sorts of things, right? And the idea about the controversy in this particular one coin doesn't really matter. There'll be other things that come along too that are tradable. What is tradable, right? And FUD, FOMO is tradable. It's very tradable. Volatility is tradable. And when you do have a following that you come into the HEX space with, and you convert, you know, suddenly become a messiah for HEX or whatever, or what do they call it?
Influencer.
A disciple, right?
I thought you were talking about Hextradamus.
Yeah, so Hextradamus and all the foretellings and all the, you know, the edification that we put on one person, right? That was an outsider, but inside the group advocating. So all I'm getting, you know, I'm trying to keep it focused on the fact that we will have this again in the future. We will have other traders that come into the space. We'll have people that leave from the HEX ecosystem because they're looking for volatility. They are looking for it. And we can either let it affect us and our perspective, but it's not going to affect the code. It's not going to affect the game theory. You can have a disruption in anything, but if it's a good product, the marketplace will reward that good product that does the things it's intended to do if the marketplace desires it. If people are looking for stability and ratcheting up a value, I don't see anything else in the crypto space that offers that. I see HEX as being able to do that.
So Gary, what we have is different motivations in the space. Right. We have Richard's motivation for creating the product. We've had opportunists that come in, and opportunists are okay because they're looking for the opportunity and they're looking for a point where they can make a profit. The problem is you end up with some people that are sociopaths who literally enjoy getting people wrecked. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we have a problem, is when we have people that enjoy being able to pull somebody else's strings and get them to react a certain way, and they benefit from it. And profit is only secondary to that motivation to pull the levers and get people to react a certain way. And that's where I have a bit of a problem with it. Now, what Richard doesn't get credit for in his design and what he's done is the fact that he has spent most of his time. You have to understand the point in life where Richard is, and most people don't get that concept, because not everybody has all the money they need or all the things that they need, and they haven't achieved that point in life where there's nothing left to do except build a legacy. And a legacy is something that you can't buy, you have to build it. And he is already, he's spent his free time. He's been retired since he was 24. He spent his free time trying to do self-help things. He's been trying to do longevity things. He's been trying to do all these different things because he really has a concern for humanity. And I'm not trying to put him on a pedestal. I'm just saying this is where his motivation is coming from, is he's building his own legacy. Right. He put his name and his face on this thing because he really wants to be known for achieving this best asset that's ever been invented. I mean, that's the end goal. That's the end game. His motivation is for this product to be more successful than anything else has been so far. And he doesn't get credit for that because people look at him and go, "Oh, you're crazy. You can't do that." Well, that's exactly the motivation that he needs. Somebody telling him he can't do it, because by God, he's going to do it.
I'm not trying to put in the same martyrdom, but it's very much the Tesla versus Edison issue. Someone else named Satoshi originated this brand of cryptocurrency, and others come along, and whether it's a better innovation or not, a better technology, AC versus DC, still the brand is going to be Satoshi. That's going to be the brand for a long time. And I can see that potentially flipping, but not only for ego's sake, but because of better design. You plug in things in your house because alternating current is a better use of electricity. It's a better function. It's better technology than DC. And I can see, like you said, the legacy story is one thing. And we don't have to protect Richard. Richard can protect himself. The code will protect itself. It'll operate no matter what. And it's a locked issue. The only things that are anything that us as entrepreneurs or people that have any knowledge of business should understand and communicate well is there's companies like In-N-Out. People know a hamburger place. They recognize that, but they don't know that it's privately held. Nobody has shares in it but the family that originated it. People know things like McDonald's and they know it's a franchise. So you can explain the organization of different things that bring product or service or value to the public. And when people are mature enough to absorb that information, they'll receive it. But when they're not, they're just going to be attracted to the drama. They're going to be attracted to the Twitter feed. I did see on the Twitter that there was maybe about an hour or so, this person had a public Telegram chat room. I was in that chat room. I was number 49. And number 49, it was just so I didn't join it, but I wanted to see what was going on. And at 49, I was the last person in, and then it got locked at the 50 point. And all it was basically trying to egg, as far as this particular scenario, trying to egg somebody, an OA or whatever, to basically manipulate a market. And I don't think that that's what is necessary, is needed, is going to have a net effect for someone that's basically fudded the project to date. So I see the manipulation, I see the attempt to trigger someone, and it's an emotional game. This is talking not only about, it's not about Richard's money. His money at stake is peanuts. Developing time, but you look at his hours, how many thousands of hours over the course of a couple of years went into this thing, watching all of the Telegram chats, following all of these things. Thousands upon thousands of hours have been invested into this. So I can see how I would get emotional. I'd be pretty pissed, right? But I think that Richard is a principled person. And if some other product that had better characteristics or same characteristics, I don't think he would FUD it. I don't think he would say that's a terrible product and you shouldn't be in that because it's my competition. He believes in free market. He believes in the improvement of technology because of scenarios like this, but he just tries to demonstrate why this is different. And what GT was disingenuous about was stablecoin, whatever gets promoted, it's not a stablecoin. It's nowhere close to a stablecoin. You see the volatility over the past month. It's wrecking people left and right. So when Richard highlights these differences and talks about the thing, GT doesn't want to stay on the thing. He wants to bleed that over into the not thing. So
what about isms? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about isms is when you're losing a debate and you have to immediately switch that topic and be able to attack something else to defend your position because you don't have any stance. And Ample was something that was, I shouldn't have said the name, but that was something that was such a year ago when I read through the paper on that, and I wouldn't have sent anybody that direction. But that's just my opinion. I just think, you do have a responsibility to your followers, if you have a following, not to.
Yeah, his emotion isn't just because of his time investment. His emotion is there are people that have their life savings, whether it's in HEX or not, or they have stakes that they believe might reward them in 15 years or 2 years or 6 months. So, I mean, I can see how he gets defensive. He's not my father, but I could see the paternal instinct get triggered, Do you have something?
No, Richard doesn't want everybody to get wrecked. I mean, the part of the principles and part of the reason he made HEX is because he is against trading. He wants people to learn good behaviors and good financial practices. I mean, that's part of the principles in HEX, is to learn the long-term game and not the in and out. So it's ridiculous when we hear people say it's a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a learn how to manage your money over time sort of system that teaches good behaviors and keeps you from getting wrecked. So when I see people putting clones or making things similar or stacking things on top of, it really pisses me off because now they're trying to make a gambling scenario out of it. And it's frustrating because it should be enough. But
but this is and if you want to call it an asset class, at least the population that's attracted to it are gamblers. 99% of the people that are attracted to are risk takers. The people that aren't risk takers are the people like Simon Dixon that owns a percentage of Kraken or owns a percentage of basically the casinos. If you want to get rich in gambling, buy international trading or ITM or whatever it is, ITC. The company is basically machines. Yep. Buy that, So, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even in that stuff, Richard talks a lot about that. Ideally, I mean, everybody, you can invest in vice funds. There's a lot of money in vice funds. Like you can invest in tobacco products and alcohol, like all that stuff. But like what at the end of the day, like what's the net positive that you're helping the world with all that investment? I mean, I just in my own time, like I mean, I think that what you have to do what you think is best for like, and sometimes there's still money to be made other places. He brings it up about medical research that like there is ways to invest in that you can make money with that. There's other ways to invest in positive things, building a brand, building a business. That stuff's way better net overall for the society than investing in trying to manipulate other people to trade, buy or sell one thing one way or another. That's terrible investment of time, and you're like ruining people's emotions and that's a good thing when you do that. When you like actually net gain, you made money because you messed with people and you manipulated people. Like
it's very hard to be wealthy. I mean, like truly wealthy these days without serving millions or billions of people products they want, services that they want. Unless you're a part of a government, unless you're part of an armed militia that basically takes over a place against their will, a capitalist society is based on the free market making that decision about your product or service is better than that, right? So this is a question,
All right. Well, that's out of the way, and the unless anybody else has any thing left, I just want to put that out in the open and actually just put it to bed as well, because like the whole other guy that won't be named from the original FUD, that went away rather quickly.
Let's be clear. That's not like going away entirely. You know, like that dude is doing what he's doing. You know, and there's going to be consistent FUD against us. You know, especially going into big payday. That's not like.
Well, yeah, yes and no.
I mean,
at least right now it's civil. I mean, I talked to him maybe a month ago directly from that project you're talking about, and it was only basically to say simply that you know, they're different from each other. I don't want to FUD their project. I'm not FUDding our project. I'm just saying they're different, and those things will be highlighted. It'll be highlighted on their side. It'll be highlighted on this side. So I'm in the HEX camp completely. But yeah, I can see it coming back. I don't think this necessarily malicious at the moment. Maybe that's my naivety, but I can see what Big K is saying about closer to the launch of their thing and the end of the adoption phase of this thing. Yeah, I can see potential.
I already got solicited emails to sign up to the new project thing, and it's like, you know, it's frustrating that somebody spent years building something, and then you've got somebody that says, oh, okay, that's a great idea. This way, I am now in control of the OA. Because, but see, it comes down to intent. Again, it comes down to intent. When you have a trading personality that is used to volatility, and they want a product to be volatile so that they can trade it, there's going to be volatility in that. If they want control of the OA and they are known for dropping stuff on the market, I don't think that's going to be a very safe product to be in. I don't see it possibly being stable, and I don't see it lasting for very long.
Well, I mean, I think that it's kind of the same thing as burning tokens. It's a dumb idea to burn tokens to bring up the value of something. It's like saying, I'm going to burn all the corn that's in the warehouse so that there's less corn and people value it more. It doesn't make any sense. You should bring up a population that desires that product or market it better so that people know it's available. So I can see the other thing that we're not talking about. Yeah, that's kind of like a weird way of burning, even though it's always available. It's locked into a smart contract and it's in Uniswap. Supposedly, there's no way to get it back out. Who knows if that's true or not? But whatever.
All right. Well, enough about talking all that other crap, and things are put to bed. Let's just leave it at that. Let's get on to more fun stuff. So let me see here. We got to make room. Sorry, Coffee, real quick. I put out word today for any Bitcoin maximalists with over 10,000 followers to come on the show. And I know other people tagged people, so let's get them all on here. And I'm just kidding. Nobody. Not one single one. Now, Peter McCormick, he was in a thread with Nerd Girl, and I guess she has an interview with him coming up at some point, Nicole. And I just commented something about, he asked him, why he only says HEX is a scam. He replied to me and just said HEX is a scam. So I invited him on. And of course, he has nothing. They have nothing. I tagged a few. They're not going to come on, but the invitation's always open. Anyway, now that we're on to the Bitcoin and the maximalist thing, or at least Bitcoin, I did want to pose the question because it was kind of like, I guess, breaking news, last week when Richard mentioned that the free claims won't be promoted or pushed anymore, kind of like hidden. Just wanted to open it up and see what you guys' thoughts were regarding that, because that was a pretty, different shift than what we were used to, and nothing that I really expected personally. Not that it's a huge deal, given that they're less than, say, 3% claim, but it is an interesting little wrinkle that just happened.
I wanted to comment. One quick one is asking McCormick about the interview or whatever that she's going to do. It's like asking Ja Rule about Katrina. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you care what Ja Rule has to say about Katrina?
Yeah.
He says that he's an idiot. He tells it all the time. He says, I know nothing. I'm not a coder. I'm not a business person. I just happen to do a podcast and people pay me money. So he said that publicly. And so it's kind of like asking, again, a rapper about, economics. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So on the free claim.
I honestly, I never thought that free claims ever were going to get over 10%. I thought that was going to be high, from day one. This is not surprising to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought it was going to make a lot more impact than it really did. And, you have to iterate and you have to adjust according to new realities, like Richard, beats into everyone's head. But, it's month 8 and you've got 2.5, 2.6% of all total Bitcoin claimed. Apparently, just, the Bitcoin guys aren't into it.
Not
what
much.
Is it? Oh,
271.
2.71 now. Yeah, I mean, good for them, and it's still going to be available. And chances are, I think those are the kind of people that would be able to dig in and figure it out themselves. So they don't need it to be on the front page if they, those are going to be hardcore crypto people or exchanges, basically.
I don't think a lot of people own their keys. I really think a lot of that has to do with that at the point of the snapshot, that a lot of people don't own their keys. And the large holdings of Bitcoin that are off the market, so to speak, we don't even know if they speak English. So, it's 45, what is it? 45% of all Bitcoin is in 2,000 wallets. And we have no idea who the hell that is. And that could be miners, they could be behind the firewall of China and not even know this exists. I was expecting about 10%, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I do expect that we're going to get some kind of last minute pre-claimers like the day before, thinking that they're going to get the whole thing because they're not really following the project, but they're probably going to try to jump in there last minute and they're going to be stuck with their coins for 350 days, what little's left of them.
So I see this as there's something called the search for extraterrestrial life. Basically science and physicists look at, what would you need to find extraterrestrial life, intelligent life. And one of the things that they throw out there as an analogy is when you're looking in the universe, really what you're looking at is where are the lights at? You're looking at where the stars are. You're looking for planets and so forth. And that's such a small percentage of the universe. So when you're looking for basically Bitcoin claimers, people that might claim, like you just said, one, they're getting outshouted if they speak English. They're getting outshouted by maximalism. Two, they probably didn't even get the message. So if you don't have the flashlight that hits them, you're not going to see them. They're not going to see your light. So it's kind of, I think of the percentage of claim, and I know the reasoning. Everyone knows the reasoning for basically someone to do a free claim is so that you see the chart and you see over the past 8 months the change in the value of HEX, and then you FOMO. FOMO has a freemium onboarding process. Now that it's gotten to be, there's only like 4 months left, I do see the reasoning, and I don't really see a benefit for the giveaway. Whether it's a small amount of money or big amount of money, I don't see the benefit. I haven't promoted as much as I probably should have. I told people they have claimed because I didn't know that they had Bitcoin, but then they told me after the fact that they had Bitcoin because I was just talking about HEX and onboarding organically. But then I find out, oh, they have a free claim too. Oh, okay, you can do that. So I didn't really promote that myself, and maybe there's reasons why I didn't, that were subconscious. I didn't really see the value of it the same.
Yeah, I think one thing that is interesting that I didn't think of immediately when I heard the decision could be almost like a reverse psychology kind of thing at play. Be like, oh, well, now, if it gets out and be like, well, Richard doesn't want me to free claim my Bitcoin, I'm going to do it now. You know what I mean? It's like, despite the project or him, it's almost comical, but
it's like the dating thing. It's like the takeaway or any sales. You want to buy a car and they say that they're not going to do it, then you start walking away, and then it changes the frame. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge deal. I mean, we got to focus on, I think, people outside of crypto anyway. So I'm excited to start doing that.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people that I've gotten some free claimers to claim, and I usually have them convinced. If they are going to free claim their Bitcoin, usually they're convinced and they're going to buy some HEX. So like at that point in time, my marketing outreach has worked, and they don't give when they find out like, oh, how much am I getting for my Bitcoin that I have? You're like, yeah, this much. Like, well, how much am I getting for my $500? You're like, a lot more, and like, well, then who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like their level of caring reduces very quickly about that free claim. They're like, well, it's on this wallet. We got to go this and that. Can I just put in 50 more bucks? And you're like, you can do whatever you want, man. Like I've already seen that happen where people don't care. They almost wouldn't even care about claiming their free claim once they're hooked on actually having HEX to begin with. They're like, whatever, I'll just buy some more HEX.
Yeah, I mean, under a penny at this point, I would not want to be the person betting that it's not going to hit a penny. It's more likely to hit a penny than Bitcoin is to hit 20K again. We had all the Tether basically counterfeiting, boosting the price up to God knows what levels, then cashing out on it, and then all of a sudden now they have money to back their system. So, I don't know that that's going to happen again, but I can pretty much bet on it could. Anything could happen, but I see it hard with, X amount of millions of people losing their jobs that may not potentially have them back. There's not a lot of extra money flowing around right now. If anything, it'd be institutional investors moving stuff around.
I don't know. The more they print the money, there will definitely be some more rise in commodity prices. I mean, gold just hit all-time highs. I mean, those things are happening. Ideally, crypto is the other safe haven that we hope it is, but it's probably not. I mean, hopefully HEX, continues what it did. If everything else goes down, hopefully it goes up too. Again, that would be lovely. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility for Bitcoin to hit 20K, or obviously HEX to hit a penny. I think that a penny is way more likely sooner. But I'm starting to not put.
I think what will happen is what Richard has also said, and what happened in 2017 especially, is people have been hearing for so long, if they've been outside of crypto, that Bitcoin's going to go to 300,000 a coin. They've been hearing that noise, that sound. And when it goes to 20K, if it goes to 20K, they might have doubled their money, if maybe less than that now, right? They might have made it 80% more or whatever, right? If they got in and got back out. They're probably just going to sit at 20 and just wait forever, right? For a long time. But what they will be, because now they're crypto familiar, they will see things like HEX went up 100 and whatever the number is at that time. And I can see the fat man jumping on the seesaw, the little market cap shooting up. I can see those numbers really looking juicy and great and terrific on charts. And I think that narrative just strengthens. I think that people will either come in because they see lifestyle changes from other products and projects that they missed out on, or whatever it might be, and they have a stake that becomes more juicy and they don't let go of because they already have it in HEX, or they get involved with the stake with the narrative of it's a stable climb versus a volatile. You're in a tornado.
Well, the catch here is, can Bitcoin rise without bringing HEX up with it? So if Bitcoin hits 20K and it brings HEX up with it, then HEX is a penny. So it can't really hit 20K before HEX hits penny if the ratio stays right.
No, you're right in that regard. The penny is coming, I would imagine sooner. I mean,
yeah.
Well, institutions, it's not that they're going to buy your bags at a loss or at a top. It's that if they've been framing for at least 3 to 4 years, they've been framing and they've been buying inventory if they buy inventory, and now they definitely are in profit if they've held and they didn't have to liquidate for some other kind of they were shorted some other market that went down. So once you have the inventory, then you open the COMEX. Once you already have it, once JP Morgan has 1 million ounces of physical silver, then maybe the release comes off, things like that. So once you already have your inventory and you have your clientele, and you're going to charge them a fee basically to hold it for them, I mean, basically you just see the framing. And right now the story is still Ethereum and Bitcoin as on ramps for grandma and grandpa and somebody that's seeking stability and climb, getting rent seeked and feed along the way. So I can still see the narrative, but the people that are really going to make the profit as far as multiples on their money, I still think are going to be products like HEX, similar to HEX. I think that people would get wrecked all along the way and all the other kinds of things that are going to just take your money. But no.
And staking too. I mean, that's like a trend that's only going to get more popularized with ETH 2.0, and I think eventually Chainlink's going to do it. And these bigger coins that are trying to go backwards and get it involved, where HEX is already here. It does it very well.
The last 8 months.
Yeah, and if you do the math, and you actually sit down and think about it, it's very nice, and it's just getting that message out there. And I think it's probably a good segue to get into more of the marketing. Not going to be a terribly long stream tonight, but just want to post a couple marketing questions. So we've had another week of ads, seeing them in and around London. We have any additional thoughts given another week? I mean, I think we have like a taxi fleet now and buses, and of course the old, the soccer graphics and whatnot. Anything anybody would do differently regarding that?
I mean, it's all awesome. It's all great. And like I said earlier, the idea of ubiquity illusions and several media, several different people telling you about something just adds to the feeling that something really is everywhere. I think I've also said this before, but I think the fact that images of these things are on hex.com is almost more powerful than seeing them in real life, because it's doubly as powerful, not only for somebody that has never heard of HEX that's just trying to take the subway, but for somebody that is deep involved in crypto and they're going to hex.com and they're seeing and thinking, oh man, this is a legit thing in the real world. So yeah, I think we need more clicks, and it's hard to track how effective they are, right? So that's the challenge right now, is how do you track these clicks and tag them to a specific buy as well, because people aren't free claiming anymore. People aren't really doing the adoption amplifier much anymore. So how do you, obviously it's not an absolute statement. Some people are doing both, but how do you track people pressing swap on Uniswap after they clicked on an ad? It's doable, but I think it's going to take a little bit more time to fine tune all that stuff. Right now I'm experimenting with different audiences. So comparing the gamer and kind of entertainment kind of audience with the crypto audience, as well as comparing just general affinity audiences of people that have visited hex.com, who tend to like stuff like mathematics and computer science and cryptocurrency and all that kind of stuff. Luckily, Google takes care of a lot of that for you, so that's nice. But it's kind of, I'm doing my own little campaign, and I'm sure a lot of other people are doing theirs. I know a lot of people are doing them on Facebook, Instagram, it's kind of the same thing. I'm doing mine on YouTube and Google. So I'm having 3 different streams going. So a YouTube campaign, a display campaign, and finally a search campaign. And really just trying to collect data and see where we can get the most clicks at this point.
Matt, do you know about retargeting ads and how to add fuel to retargeting ads?
I know about retargeting ads. I think I need a big enough click source. I've never ran them on Google. I've ran them on Facebook before. But I think I need a big enough batch of clicks to create a retargeting audience similar to that.
Your audience has to be big enough to.
Right.
Well, here's the kicker. The company that I went through to build my website has retargeting built on the back end of the website. And what I do is I add fuel. So I put money into the fuel engine, so to speak, and then that creates the retargeting campaign, and they build the ads for it. But I know how to fuel it, but I'm not the builder of it. But what it allows me to do is basically when people go onto my website, the next time they go on Facebook, my ad pops up, and they don't get a choice. They have to see it. You know, so once I've got them to my website, my ads now follow them everywhere they go, which is awesome for haters if you think about it, because once they click on the website, they go to read it, they're going to be retargeted, and everywhere they look, there's going to be HEX. So it's fun like that too. But it also creates that presence, the ubiquity illusion, where no matter where they go, it's there. It's a sponsored ad, and it continues to pick up. Now, I know that in my particular web page that's been designed, it's in the back end of the code, but I did not know if there was another way to do that without having to go through that particular agency in order to pay them the monthly fee and put in the rewards to do that. I brought that up to Richard with the retargeting ads, because I think that's probably the most effective thing really in today's market, because it follows you everywhere. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, well, in Facebook and Instagram, it's called a pixel. So a pixel is basically just a tracking code, or it's the equivalent of a tracking code in Google Ads, and you have to just paste that into the header of your website. So I don't own HEX.com, and so I need to do some talking with people about how to, get a unique tag into that, because I'm sure they have tracking set up already on HEX.com, but I need to bridge the gap with that. What tracking is already there, and how do I flow that into what I'm already running. But yeah, a pixel follows you around wherever you go, and it keeps track of every website you visit, and lumps you into basically a bucket of other similar people that have liked similar things as you.
Yeah,
so it's pretty cool.
Before we get too far from the topic, because Matt did say something, I wanted to correct a tiny bit.
Okay.
Said about the adoption amplifier. So on the AA, we've seen the Ethereum number go down, but do keep in mind that Ethereum is 35% more than it was a month ago. So when you look at the dollar value, you might see 6,000 or 7,000 or 8,000 worth of Ethereum contributed. There's actually more dollar value today than there was 30 days ago. If you look at the historical trend of the price of Ethereum, and then you look at the historical trend over the past 30 days of participation in AA, your Ethereum number might be lower, but your dollar value is higher.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, like what ETH when we started this out was like under $100 at one point. Yeah, $87. So we've 3x'd on that alone, which is pretty impressive.
Higher than it was less than 30 days ago. I just looked, in this interim. Yeah.
And what we're doing is, though, our wave value of HEX is actually gone down. So we are moving. We're not really moving up with ETH like I'd like to see us. I'd like to see us around that 2,000 wave area versus the now we're down to like 10,000 or something.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see that move up.
It is. As far as
had a couple of black eyes between a separate project that was supposedly built on HEX, and then recent thing. We have had 2 black eyes recently, but the value is still there the same way.
Yep. Yeah, and the ads are fun. I mean, like they definitely are working. At the very least, they're working to get under Maxi's skins. If you're watching it on Twitter, people are losing their damn minds about economic and the economist ad and the ads, and they're like, they can't do this. How could they do this? You're like,
no, but they could promote all kinds of fake home remedies that do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, this one right here is actually one that I wanted to discuss. So it's a great point, I think. 800, however you pronounce. CD narrative tested against the price narrative. So we've seen the price narrative. And personally, I'm not a fan, because I think more talk has been about lately promoting it as an actual investment product, not some crypto that's online and mysterious to so many people that say if it is an older, smarter demographic, they're more about ease and how can we, get this now and easily. Instead of, well, you got to put this here and then you have to then send it here and then do this. And it's just like, okay, that's part of it. And then the other part, I guess, I'm I started with is if you see 11,500% or whatever ridiculous thing it is, that's awesome. We know it's awesome. We've been here and watched the whole thing occur. But just to the average person on the street, does that seem more scamish in nature? And I hate using that word because no, it's not, but you know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, this is some crypto thing, and you know,
some cleanup.
Their brain goes there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Some cleanup on how it's presented, because you know, and Richard's very proud of his product. He wants to tell people what it's done, and that is a performance sort of scenario. And there might be a link on the website to say, okay, here's past performance, and let's click this link, but maybe not so much on the front page. But I mean, cleaning it up to just basically like a digital certificate of deposit, in which penalties are 50% of the penalties are paid to the holders on top of their regular interest, and more of, instead of 10,000% or whatever, you know, just, you know, create that illusion on your ads, you know, just, you know, discover HEX.
I mean,
you know, HEX, discover HEX.com, and have them get you to the website, which also works with that retargeting scenario, because if you can just get them to go to your website, then you can follow them around all day long and have those ads keep popping up, and you can give them a little bit more information each time. But I think for the general populace, when they see something that says 11,000%, they're like, I'm not even looking there. I mean, you know, if I saw an ad like that,
well, and not only that, but like, as we've seen from the past 2 or 3 months or so, we've gone through a downward trend for a month or so, or whatever. Like, you know, there's people that are gonna buy in seeing that, and after 2 months be like, where's my mad gains, man? And like, it'd be better off to just be like, hey, listen, this goes, like, you're going to look at the profits that you're getting from your staking, like that. This is going to be you know, it's a long-term game. Like, you know, that's a much better way to frame things, I think, too. You know,
well, even Bitcoin's narrative is 25x from here. It's not necessarily what other people have gotten rich from. Their narrative going forward is $250,000 Bitcoin. So, I mean, I don't know if you should. Obviously, you have to be careful in any kind of advertisement about future prediction. That's why even people will get bitchy in Telegram channels and stuff. Saying,
well, he made it.
Predict
he made it perfectly clear. It said it did go up. You know, it went up, but people are still saying, "Oh, well, it says it gives people the idea that it's going to go up in the next 4 months." No, it doesn't. It says went up, but I mean, I think it's a little overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you can't even go to the bank and get a you know, certificate of deposit that pays you more than 2%, it's a little overwhelming for people to look at this thing and go, "Oh, 11,000%, it's got to be." It's you know,
I mean,
but they don't even know crypto, you know, so you have to put it in terms that they can relate to. If you said, you know, 5x, it can potentially make 5x your money, could potentially make that might be in realistic terms, and that would be enough to get people to look, you know.
I mean, I think that telling people that they get a minimum 3.69% interest digital CD is like, you know, minimum, you know, rate, then that's, you know, that's like 350% more than they're getting right now, you know. So
that's something that people can understand much easier than, you know, 11,500.
That's what everybody that's over the age, everybody that I've sold on this that's over the age of 50, I've sold through digital CD. That's the way I've sold it to them. 3.69% variable APR CD. And they're like, what do you mean variable? Well, if more people are staking,
that's the minimum.
You know, less people are this, you know, and I explain that, and they're like, oh, that makes total sense. That's all they need to hear. They don't need to hear about goofy bonuses and crazy structures and big paydays and all that.
They
shit
don't
at all.
understand
like,
charts. They don't understand trading.
No, they don't
understand.
When you try to tell them that shit, they're like, whoa. What I know about that is that everybody that's played that game has gotten wrecked, and I still have my CDs from 40 years. You know, my rolling CDs for the past 40 years. And
we got a deal for you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's what tells them.
Tone it down a little bit with the advertising, especially to non-crypto people. Do we want to be, not realistic, but do we want to tone it down to fit within their reality of their potential expectations?
I had the feeling that from the get-go, after adoption amplifier is over and all those bonuses and crazy shit disappears, that a whole redesigned front end that takes a lot of that out of it, for Hex.win or Hex.com now, and marketing it as a financial product. I mean, and much less flashy, much less, of all of that stuff I thought that was going to be that's just, of course, what we're going to do, so I think it's cool almost that we're all coming to the realization that needs to be a necessity, much earlier on than I thought it was going to be forced on us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to send you this, see if you can share it. It's kind of sits into what you guys are talking. Let me see if I can where's your Telegram? I'm trying to find you again. Cabana. Oh, there you are. So check your Telegram and talk about this image that I think is useful for what you guys are talking about. Where's this? Okay. This loads. Send. Okay. It should be in your regular Telegram channel.
Gary, I'm not good at switching up this thing. They'll just have to fill me in.
So if you're instead of me sharing it, I think you're able to share an image. But he put that graph up, and it's just basically pretty simple. And it is a historical thing because he's saying $1 became 73, I think. But it's just basically a pie chart image that Rye Guy put into the HEX main chat earlier in the day. And I thought, wow, that's actually pretty useful. When you show just a graph and you don't have any points along the way, and you just see a climb up and to the right, started on December whatever. This is what it was in March. This is what it is in July. What will the future be? People will draw their own conclusions, and you're not really held responsible for that. You can show a trend of adoption. You can show a graph like that makes sense, because I think that it's covered up a little bit with the question. But yeah, so if it says January 2nd, it says January 1st, and this is his example of his experience. He bought 1 million HEX with $73. And then he staked it the next day, and he staked it for 377 days. And then his value of his stake, because of the compounding effect, he could show that number and relate it to dollar value later, as far as today's price. So you can look at making graphs like that, and that's a pretty simple thing to understand on the side of a bus. So is the up and to the right chart. So is a lot of stuff that doesn't have to overwhelm people, like you said earlier, of 10,000x or 5,000x or something that's unrelatable to people. Say, oh, I bought a house and now it's worth $20 million or something. So it becomes unrelatable, but that seems relatable. So
yeah, this is really good, and I hate to be nitpicky about the design, but you can go to, if anyone's making these infographics out there, first of all, great job. I really appreciate all that. But you can go to material.io and learn about material design, which is something that's used in design of UIs and applications in the modern day. And you'll find some basic principles like copy is usually only white or black, and it's different based on what the background is. Also, picking a color scheme doesn't usually have more than usually doesn't have more than 3 different shades of a primary and a secondary color. And for example, I would never put this is great, right? So I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on this, but I would never put the yellow and pink arrow on top of an orange background and stuff like that. I mean, material.io, that's pretty useful.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website now. And when
I don't actually have the picture, so I'm staring at a black strip here on this thing, and I'm going, what is he looking at?
Yeah, and the blue is a little just out there. I mean, it really just makes the designs look much more professional with very, very little effort.
Yeah, I think that, again, a lot of us are learning graphics, and it's great that Richard put out these templates, so to speak. He shared the PSD files for a lot of the banners that people are starting to remake into different website URLs and such. And I've been remaking some of those and integrating them on my sites in the same way. But yeah, so one graphic, that's where you have the benefit of if this, like you said, Matt puts this input in and says, here's a resource that most people didn't know about, material.io, you can go and you can learn it on your own, or you can be part of a group or a smaller chat room or something like that that's very graphic centric, and say, you know, this is how we're doing it. This is why we have some uniformity and why we have some shared palettes or color codes, you know, things like that to look actually bigger in number. You know, one reason why armies have uniforms is because, yes, I want to identify friend from foe very easily on a battlefield that has a lot of chaos. But another reason is because psychologically, that enemy sees one guy in uniform and 5 minutes later sees another guy in uniform and thinks that it's a bigger force than it really is. It might only be 2 guys, but because there's been a span of time and geography, you think there's a bigger force than there really is. So it's the same sort of thing, same principles.
Now, Big K, you were talking about the website, and I think one thing that's really cool that's out there right now, and I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see it, but Seth Mendoza has been making some explainer videos, and they're really, really well done. They're you know, kind of the whiteboard format. I don't know how he's putting them together, but he's putting a series of those together, and I would think Richard would want to take a look at those and maybe replace some of the interview videos with something that is more based on, I mean, people are there for the product. And I think, you know, on the landing page and stuff, he could put his interviews maybe in like a, you know, more about the founder sort of scenario, and maybe put the explainer videos on the front page so people get more of a taste of what HEX is. And I think he's done a good job putting those videos together. So
I think it's helpful also if he, not that we want him to do something new for the project, but I'm starting to use like those little 3-minute videos about how to put MetaMask into your browser. So even on my exchange pages of my website, then I put in, you know, coin, what is it, like all the different ways you can do it, transact, and all the ways that you can basically buy HEX, coin switch, and all these other things. And I've also put in just the link to how to put MetaMask, and it is Richard's 3-minute little YouTube video. So when he does those kinds of things where he's educating, but he's not going on, and it's 2 minutes of concise, here's what you do, it's so useful, so redeployable. You don't have to remake anything new.
Agreed. Brought up Richard there, just in terms of those initial videos. I really enjoyed those because he's like just kind of course, well-spoken and just goes over everything nice and neat, very simple. I mean, I remember listening to him when I was, you know, just learning and preparing. Does it make any difference to anyone? I know he's like the founder and the face of the project. So in my mind, like we have, I don't want to say like Top Hat Richard. So that's his avatar. That's who I think when, you know, he's tweeting online or something like that. And then I see him in really nice clothes or suit or what have you, presenting HEX. And that presentation to me, on the old website, I think it was a video that was specifically cut to that point in time where he spoke of, you know, specifically about what HEX is and what it does. Do you think, we were talking about, I guess, dress on Discord, so they were talking about dress, you know, and I see Johnny Chaos has a nice shirt on tonight. He dressed the part.
I don't look like a rogue.
Right, but
skeletons in my closet.
Yeah, does any of that factor into you? Be like, okay, well, if you show somebody, say, a video of like, you know, who's this run by or something like that, you think they would be swayed by, oh man, this guy is, you know, nice clothes and he's speaking about this project and he's talking to an audience, or is it just like crypto? Oh, go ahead.
I think it's good as a founder video, you know, if people want to dig deeper. But again, it's very infomercial. Explainer videos kind of detach that human element of somebody trying to sell you on something. It's just an explainer video, which is explaining you something. So it depends on what you're trying to catch on that hook, I guess. I think it's a great video. And us knowing who Richard is and watching the presentation and being behind it, that's one thing. But for new people coming in, it's like, wow, what's this guy trying to sell me?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I look at it. And again, I don't want to say I knock anything that Richard has done on this project. He's put time in. He's done pretty wicked stuff. But it's just a matter of, are there ways that we can help him fine tune it, or there's some ideas that he could potentially use? It's kind of hard to tell him stuff because So
yeah, and that's what this stream is all about. And I'd like to focus on the marketing aspect, because I think that's where we as a community have some of the most to offer right now, is our ideas and what can be actually implemented. If somebody thinks of, this one thing that could be like I see there's like a Cameo Telegram chat now, and I think
Nice.
Johnny, you mentioned somebody like the Hodge twins, who used to be in crypto, who are really funny, really just.
They didn't respond back, poor guy.
We got burned so bad on Ripple, though.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But I mean, just characters like that who could be positive and speak well. I think like Snoop was leading the poll, and I'm like, all right, what kind of audience are we really going after? But
it's funny because we talked about the crypto space and the crypto influencers actually having a little bitty following, but they're so full of themselves, and you can spend less to get a real celebrity to do a cameo.
Well, there's so many people that are hungry for setting up their new e-business as this thing has progressed in 2020. There's a lot of people that are looking at, before they might have said, I'm too busy to start a YouTube channel. But now they are going through the curve, and they got their camera set up, they got their setup, they got their format, and they are the Hodge twins coming up and rising. Basically, there's a lot of those kind of people out there. So just look for charismatic people. I would rather advocate for someone that has good personality and vibe and is new content versus influencers of even a year ago. That's stale to a lot of people.
You're totally right, Johnny. Think about that. That like, if you want Snoop Dogg to promote your brand on there, not to just like do a little quick cameo, but brand promotion is $7,500. Ivan wanted $10,000 to promote. You're like, what the fuck? You're
one episode, probably.
Yeah. So that's pretty hilarious to think. I think it's Snoop Dogg. That's 75% off Ivan. Jeez.
That's crazy. We got to start a cameo fund or something and just rack up like 20 of them and just keep them on deck and release them, once a week. Make it seem like a whole, brigade of people.
That would just really see, and that's the thing. That would just really tear some people up. It just really would.
Yeah,
it's not going away. They need to get over it, because it's not going away. So you either get on the rocket ship with us or get out the way, because it's not going.
Hear about it later.
Or at the very least, it'd be better if they're just agnostic. But like, there's so many of them have taken up such a strong stance against it that like it's that's where the pain really comes in. Is just like, you can't. How long are you going to yell? How strong are your lungs? Because you're going to be yelling for a long time.
Yeah, and it's just not worth it, because again, I think the new users are going to be the ones that appreciate it, and inevitably, if we get the market from the outside, the inside has to follow, because if the majority comes in from the outside, that's where the adoption is. You can only recirculate the same money.
That would be the best, is if Bitcoin influencers start doing interviews with bigger names, and they're like, so what do you think about HEX? And they're like, no, I want to talk about Bitcoin. I'm like, nah, we just want to ask you about HEX. That would be great. That would be that, but that's the reality that you're talking. I mean, that would be what you mean, is that like they're going to come along with,
Well, it's going to happen. It's inevitable that it's going to happen, and that is because there are no real world advertisements for any other coin. Okay, you can't you can only recirculate the money that's in the crypto space so long before you have to draw more people in order to add more growth. So, and that's what HEX is doing right now with the fleeted cabs, with everything. Yes, okay, maybe it might be a little overhyped. And the way that things are written now, that's fine. It's still exposure. It still does what it's supposed to do. It still creates the ambiguity illusion. It's, and again, people are taking pictures. It's pretty soon people are going to be taking pictures of themselves by the signs.
Right.
Then everybody's going to be posting it. Look, I found the HEX sign.
Yeah.
And it's just going to go viral from there.
Going back to the dress code. I agree with Richard to a degree. It's like maybe we should be dressing better. Maybe I should wear a jacket every episode, or do
Is my try not to suck shirt a little too in the face?
Yeah, I was looking at you while I was thinking about this. I'm just kidding.
I did see your videos where you wear a jacket, Matt, and some of your jacket ones. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a young professional. But you're relatable also to a lot of people in crypto with like your backdrop and your presentation now with headphones and things like that. So it depends on your, right? And
yeah. Know your audience, I guess, is what it comes down to. Because Johnny Chaos has a nice shirt on today, and it's like we switch off. We sometimes we're dressed up, sometimes we're casual. So yeah, I think it does come down to know your audience, and if I'm on a live stream just trying to relate to people or doing an explainer video, I don't really need to be in a suit and tie.
My audience typically that I onboard traditionally is, from my previous life, is all like music festival people, people that have been in entertainment, hospitality, that kind of stuff. So like most of the people that I know would not listen to me if I had a suit on. They would not be cool. They wouldn't be. Yeah. They'd be like, "What is wrong here?"
Yeah,
they'd be like, "What happened to you, man? You grew up."
You sold out. No, but
I dress up. People don't recognize me, so it's because I do trade shows at conventions and stuff, and I tried one year to get out of the logo shirts, and I wore a suit, and nobody knew who the hell I was. It was it was really hilarious. I mean, talking to somebody, they're like, "Hello, I've been talking to you for like the past 11 years."
Damn.
All right. Well, that was pretty much the quick agenda that I had. I just wanted to knock a couple of those initial topics out of the way and hopefully bury them. And
I mean, I haven't read anything else on Telegram all day. It's just been scrolling.
Yeah.
So, like, damn, what did I miss?
We're 3.5 months now. I mean, it's coming quick, and it's
99-day countdown is going to be real quick.
Yeah, we're like 106.8, something like that.
Yeah, we will hit volatility. I mean, I think it's undeniable that there will be volatility. There'll be up spikes and there'll be down spikes and there'll be trades and there'll be people that ride through it because they're staked. Some people will EES and some people won't, so it'll be volatile. Just something to keep in mind.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to try to trade it like I thought originally. That was literally my plan.
If you don't want to be selling when everybody's selling, right? If everybody decides to dump, that's not when you want to try to sell. You're not going to get your best price. It's you're just going to, see, that's what I like about HEX is you really should not be reactive. To where you have to watch that price every minute, every day. I mean, you've got your plan, stick with your plan. You should do fine. But if you're trying to be reactive to it, you're probably going to get punished.
Yeah. The nice thing is that it extends what I'm about to say, but that's what the best part about HEX is. But always, like everybody in any financial decision you make, always have an exit strategy. Like be looking for a way to close the deal and move on to something else at some point in time, or and HEX, I have that in my exit strategy is a long one over many stakes over many years, but I still have one, I still there's still a reason for it.
It could even be perpetual. Hypothetically, I mean, but granted, the HEX strategy is years. It's not months or weeks or anything like that. So
It's interesting.
No,
because almost every other investment that you make, you say you're going to go to college. What are you investing? 4 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Are you going to start a business? Maybe you'll start an ice cream company or an ice cream store. What are you going to invest? A year, 2 years, maybe $100,000. You're going to buy stocks. What are you going to invest? Are you going to flip it daily? Are you going to be a day trader of stocks? Or are you going to be say, I believe in Walmart and stock in Tesla and Amazon, and you're going to be a long hold.
Yeah.
What are you going to invest? I'm going to invest in a house. Oh, okay. That means when you're going to move out. Oh, well, you probably shouldn't buy it unless you're going to move longer than 5 years from now. So when people use this casual phrase of I'm investing in crypto, they're bullshitting themselves 99% of the time. 99% of the time, they're speculating and they're gambling. It's just
they're looking for an exit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And see, that's what makes HEX a little bit different, though, is the fact that it is one of those things where it's the only coin you don't really ever want to completely exit. That's just not how it's designed. If you sell it out at the wrong time, you're going to be. I mean, it's just the way that it's built. It's you don't really ever want to be completely out, and you shouldn't have to be, because it is making more. So.
Yeah. I guess I phrased that a little incorrectly then, I guess, in some ways. But no, I mean, I think that you should be able, like there is going to be points in time where you can peel some, off profit, and you should be, I mean, Richard was talking about that even when we were on that stream, where he's like, man, it's fine to take profit and do things with your money. That's awesome. I just don't go buy another shit coin, please.
Right. Well, I mean, you can take profit, and you take profit over time. And that's and that's what people don't understand, because they are used to the ICO, buy the rumor, sell the news, drop the market.
Yeah.
And then they're racing each other to sell that bottom, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that doesn't really benefit anybody. So the dynamics of HEX that makes it different is you can sell over time without really affecting the price. It's those 50 million drop it and go buy another coin is where you got a problem with the price fluctuation. If you're selling 100,000 here or 100,000 there, it's not so bad. But you drop it
right.
million, that's gonna.
I mean, it's easy to think about. It's easy to imagine, but it's going to be very hard in the next bull market for a lot of people. Shiny object syndrome is rampant, and we're getting into. I mean, I follow some other crypto YouTubers, like, I don't want to name names, but they're starting to do kind of altcoin of the day videos. And it's like, oh, I remember this. I remember this in 2017.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, that's the recycling of narratives, Coffee. There's the recycling of narratives. We hear different coins that are, now this is the new thing. It's like, no, it's not. It's the old thing. And it's down 95%. What the hell you mean it's the new thing?
But
they're doing this. No, they're not. They were supposed to be doing that 3 years ago. They're still not doing it.
Yeah. I mean, where's Lisk at right now? I mean, who pays attention to Lisk now? And I know it was a hot coin 3 years ago.
Yeah, but there's a new batch of them. There's a new batch that haven't had that pop off and that drop yet. So,
when
they don't have the
alt season coming around, they're not saying that the alts that died or went down come back. They're not saying that zombies come back alive. They're saying, here's another
new ones
for you to.
Well, no, I've seen actual coins that I had owned previously that are supposed to be making a comeback. So that kind of there's actually 5 of them. They were on a top 5 list, and I'm like, no, thanks. Been there, done that.
I will say. So somebody said in the chat, keep some cash to buy the dip after big payday. Moderate risk. I like that. I like this comment. I mean, it'll be literally the last chance to get. Yeah. I mean, if there is a dip, from what I saw, there's a few billion coins, 3 billion or so that are going to be coming out of stake over that period of that 30-day period of time. And I mean, that might be doubled from big payday, but that's, think about, there's 500 million coins being distributed daily right now through the adoption amplifier. So 6 billion coins over is 12 days the adoption amplifier. It's one last explosive hurrah of potential coins on the market that will be flooding out. And after that, the numbers for coins available from stakes are very slim. you know.
I can see a run on the date of the 5th or 5 o'clock or whatever time it really closes, and it's over. Basically, I can see a run for. I don't know what the liquidity is going to do, but I can see a run for people trying to sell what they just got minted, basically a big payday reward. Try to sell, have a cash position or whatever kind of stable coin position, wait for a dump because it's going to continue cascading down, in my opinion, and then buy and scoop that up again. So I can see that race that, you know, I like even when people say, oh, a big payday, we're going to have a party. There's a lot of people that ain't going to go to no party. There's a lot of people who would be sitting there waiting to basically get a cash position out of what they just got minted if they can get to it. Yeah, I can see it.
Dude, that's something. That's something that, like, you know, that I knew. I understood that immediately, and it made me question some things too. In the sense that, like, you gotta wonder how long your time horizon is when somebody's talking about making sure they're as close to their computer as they can be after a big payday.
You know, the
stock be right there.
They sell for
like right by there.
$1,000 the access to milliseconds of advantage. Milliseconds. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't think that I don't think I want to be anywhere near my computer when the dust is flying. I mean, not if you have long stakes. Not if you have long stakes. If I have long stakes, then what good is it going to be at my computer at that time? Just what, to like make me do something dumb like emergency unstake? Like, yeah, see, that's it. You know, it makes you reactive when you're constantly following the price. And I mean, that's why, you know, I try to stay out of most of this stuff. I just want to set my hex and leave it alone and not fall for the drama or not get into any of the crap. I don't want to be an influencer, but you gotta come and draw me back in.
If you're long, you're definitely, and again, that becomes the thing. Should you set a long stake with money you would be holding aside to buy a dip? If you say that BPD is going to cause a dip after BPD and reward, and people are going to do what human beings do, I mean, even like Trayvon commented about this for like months or whatever. Oh yeah, when it happens, I'm definitely going to be whatever. So you do hold cash on the before and it's not HEX that's staked, or you just set a longer stake. And if you set a longer stake, you might be 80x more HEX than you could ever buy in a dip.
Yep.
So just set a longer stake with the cash you would have bought.
Yep. I mean, that is the name of this game. That is, I mean, if you're beating the average, you're going to be, you know, making some parabolic gains.
It's a long game, and it's something new, and it's exciting to hear. You know darn well we're going to have some people trying to play the pump and dump game, and I think they're going to get destroyed. That's just my opinion. Playing that game and trying to race to sell the bottom is going to just get destroyed, because once it bounces back, you're done.
Oh yeah. Then they'll be very sad. They'll be sad. Oh, there it goes.
The share rate's going to change. It's going to shift.
Oh yeah, I mean, you'll be able to log in to hex.live, put your address in there, and watch your shares go. You know, your percentage of the shares go way up, and you'll be like, yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's what I want to see. You could even skip a class. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe.
We have a conspiracy theorist. There we go.
Hey guys.
Richard Payday.
Yeah, I gotta head out, guys. I don't mean to bounce early, but Cabana, thanks for having us on, man. Great to see all you guys. I gotta go.
Thanks for being on, man.
Thank you, man. We're wrapping up. Thanks for coming on, bud.
Sure.
That's pretty cool.
My current plan.
Screen. My laptop doesn't do green screen, so I like the Matt's green screen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. It makes me feel like I've been doing the basic this space thing forever. I should probably get myself a little quick background done.
I don't have a green screen. I'm just setting in my dungeon. You know, that's pretty awesome background as is, man.
Yeah. With big payday is I don't have to deal with it, so I'm staked beyond that point and I'm very happy with that decision. So for me, it's just going to be popcorn and beer and or something. Rum and Coke is more my thing, but you know what I mean? I can't wait for it because it's going to be actually fascinating to watch. Just like, I think not even just that day, but leading up to it and then the days after. And it's going to be a one-of-a-kind event. Like, I can't really compare it to anything that I've ever known of. So
yeah, there's a tiny part of me that likes, that, like I said, I mean, again, I don't advocate any of the dumb things I do. I can tell you not to do any of the stupid things I do, please don't, but that being said, I mean, do I have a wallet with a small stake that might be coming out there just for the hay of it, just to toy around with, maybe being a seller or a buyer, or who knows what I'll be. I don't know. Who knows? No financial advice. I don't do any of the things I do. I don't recommend it. But like, I mean, maybe not. Maybe I just wait 3 days and unstake it late anyways, and just
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is going to be kind of like the standoff scenario. Okay, there are a lot of stakes coming out just before big payday, but I don't necessarily think that they're going to sell. I think they're waiting to see what everybody else is going to do. So
yeah,
a lot of this has to do with which direction is it going, because I've got a stake that is coming off before big payday because I don't know what the price is going to be at that point in time. If the price is, 5 cents, I might sell a little, but if it's 1 cent, I might just say, well, it's not worth selling right now. Stake it out longer. So I think a lot of people are probably using that strategy. And I think, so, the paranoia of there's going to be this big sell-off, I don't know, guys. It might not be. This might be a game of chicken we got going here or something.
I get
the Gary might have mentioned it, but the share rate is another wild card. And I think not a lot of people are considering that aspect of it. And the fact that, it just goes kind of bananas after big payday. And what effect will that have on some of these stakers who actually maybe didn't already understand that math going in, and then after big payday, it's like, oh wait, this is happening now. And what I had is almost way more valuable than what I originally thought. So maybe I'm more inclined to hold on longer, or, holy crap, this is really good. I'm going to, sell a little here and do a little, Captain Kirk and, have a little on the side. But, there's so much involved. It's going to be awesome.
Well, it's interesting to what happens on Uniswap as far as the liquidity, because less liquidity a few days before actually can rocket the price up. Because I think a lot of people might be saying they're going to get in at the last minute on BPD so that they double their stack. But you might,
and then they're going to dump the next day, kind of thing, right?
You might see the price rocket up because there's not millions and millions of dollars worth of liquidity available. So that would push up the price. Whereas earlier on, people that are setting their stakes now, whether they're whales or wannabe whales or whatever it is now, you probably are going to not see that much price movement as you buy a significant stake. Like if you have a significant staking purchase now or the next few months, you probably won't see the price affected as much. But when it's down to 2 or 3 million or 4 million or whatever of liquidity days before BPD, you can see it shoot up as far as price. And then people will think, like Richard did comment, market cap, you can't buy and sell market cap. You're basically, a 25, like he was talking about fund stats. If you buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, it might move the price to 25 billion on market cap. It might add 25 billion of market cap, but that doesn't mean you can sell 25 billion of Bitcoin. It doesn't work that way. So the number is a vanity number in general, but I think it will be maximized on its marketing, on its story, on its narrative. And I think, like I said, that whatever happens as far as liquidity, who knows? But if there is significant liquidity, I don't know. I don't think there'll be last minute. I don't really know. Does he want the price or not?
I think there's going to be some people, Gary, that are going to go, okay, if I buy today and I stake it, Now I will have double my stack and I will double my money overnight. So I'm going to sell it, not understanding the share rate, but I definitely expect we're going to have those people thinking that they're going to get in, double their money, and get out, and not realizing what a position that was their last chance to get the best share rate. And because that share rate's going to walk away from them. So if they take that and try to restake it,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, they may make money. It may be in profit, but it's not compounding profit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's the liquidity game is going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean that's a piece of this puzzle with like that sell that went down, that took us massively down. I mean a big portion of that is because liquidity has been being in the midst of being transferred, from what I can tell, to V2 from V1, and so like that you can go look up that guy's sell and like his buy, and his buy was about a third the size, maybe about half the size of a candlestick of what that sell was.
Yep.
And that's because of
the
liquidity.
you did a lot on the out, yeah, for that exact liquidity reason. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So you know that matters a lot. So I mean, it might. I think somebody said, Richard pays a hacker to take Uniswap off. I mean, he doesn't even have to. I mean, like it just depends on what liquidity providers feel like is their best play too. I mean, but the other thing to think about in this whole situation is that like HEX is on like 30 exchanges too, and like those exchanges, while they all have like not that high a liquidity, I mean, there's some on them, and some of them have quite a bit and seem to have quite a bit of volume. I mean, maybe it's all wash trading, maybe it's all, whatever, we don't know. But like, I mean, what I can't remember which exchanges it were, but there's some reasonable exchanges that have pretty decent, numbers moving of HEX in and out. So like, it's not the only place that you can get out is Uniswap.
That's something important to note too, that people don't take into consideration, because we've got comparisons to being BitConnect, and here's the kicker here. It's not a black box, some mysterious bot doing trading. It's not a lending platform. It's not a single website with a single switch and only on one other exchange that you can sell the coin. In our case, there are multiple access points in order to get onto the website. It's not a website, it's to access the contract. The contract is alive and online, and it's not going anywhere. You can access it through Etherscan directly, so you don't even have to use a website to do it. So the website goes down, you don't got to worry about any of that. So the other thing is there liquidity? Well, yes, because we are listed on 30 other exchanges, so there's always a place to sell it. Right. What price you get, we can't control that, but there is a place to sell it. So there's not really a off switch, an off mechanism that's going to happen. The only thing they can say is, well, what if the OA? But here's the thing: the OA hasn't indicated anything that's anything malicious. So until they do,
yeah, I mean that's why any comparison is just like false equivalency. Like you can't judge. You look at every other project out there that has a high stake like that. They sell lots of coins. I mean, we went over that in the last thing. Zcash Foundation sells lots of coins. Ample just sold lots of coins. Plenty of these products sell lots of their coins down. Origin address hasn't yet at all. So why would we? I mean, if we extrapolate that further, there's nothing to believe that it would in the future.
Well, the fallacy is that when they say things like dumping on your head, it's very sad. I'm still going to relate it. Earlier today, there was an explosion of a fireworks factory in Beirut.
Oh my gosh, that was nuts.
Yeah, it was insane.
Right? And it's horrible, devastating. People lost their lives. I haven't seen an explosion of that scale that wasn't nuclear or some shit, right? So it's amazing. But what I'm getting at is there's a blast radius. And when you have an event like an OA selling, it kind of becomes like that. You can only, if people are inside of a certain range, and that's why exchanges that have like people that don't set their stop orders, or they basically try to buy high or low and they set it, they set a wall, a sell wall or a buy wall. That's the only people that get affected by sharp moves, and HEX is designed for stakers. Stakers don't really have any concern or interest in that risk, or they don't have that risk profile. Stakers don't. And also, like when we are using so much of HEXDEX or Uniswap contract stuff, when you're going to buy, you're going to buy. You're not staging an order. You're not waiting for an order. Someone's not executing on an order when you're asleep, like it is on the exchange that wicks people around and whipsaws them and such. So it's a completely different animal. So it's in the best interest of the OA to be good shepherd and steward over the project, the product, the brand, that kind of thing. That's definitely within their scope. But it's not really advantageous at all to even small level short against its community or against its holders or its stakers or its potential onboard, excedency. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the people that believe that, like, oh, the origin address has all the coins and is providing, like, if that's the case and it's providing the liquidity on these platforms, like the idea that it would dump all the coins doesn't make any sense. Who's it going to sell to itself? What? Like, it doesn't make really any. I just don't feel like it's really a well thought out argument.
No, it's not. But it's the easy argument to go to, and this is one of the videos I did, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, and it was just like the OA, whatever entity it is incentivized, in theory, to advance the project. So why would it just blow it up when over time it gets benefited? Everyone else gets benefited. It feeds on itself, and just by exponential math, it fuels itself going forward. And
I think for like the forking challenge, people have talked about if someone forks a product, you can basically, the weight of the OA can actually defend versus a community. So a community switching over to Bitcoin Cash and all the hash wars and stuff like that happened before in other products and projects. The OA, there's reason for it to exist.
Yeah, I mean, like, just in the fact that, like, I'm just glad to see that the brand dilution isn't going to be like a serious issue, like that Bitcoin Cash, SV, Diamond, Private, Gold, all of them are, that we've seen in that sucks, that just sucks for everybody involved in the situation. So, like, just in the fact that the one that is the HEX, what's the word, clone that is coming out, that changed their whole game up. They have a new they changed their whole logo and whatever, everything that the one that was initially very cheaply knocked off, and like, I'm more okay with it now as it exists than I was before, because before I was just like, you cheap motherfucker, like, what, who do you, that, like, you couldn't even come up with a better, it's the same shape, it's the same, get the fuck out of here. Like that sucks, but like, if you come up with something and then it's not, I'm glad that there's some action that can be taken against it. That makes me feel more comfortable about what I've invested, what I'm putting my time and effort into.
Yeah. Well, cool, gentlemen. Thank you all for participating and kind of clean up duty after a hectic weekish or so, and. I always enjoy discussing the marketing thing, like I said before, just because it's something that we as a community, ideas get thrown out there, not just between us, but somebody listening, maybe that can start something and just be like, oh, well, I know a guy, or this just triggered a thought in my mind. So that stuff's really exciting because that's going to be an ongoing thing. And of course, everything else, a big payday coming up. I mean, we're close to 100 days, or I think next week it might be down to 100 days, so that's going to be bananas as well, and can't wait. But yeah, thank you guys, and next one I do, you guys are all invited. Any parting words of wisdom or anything?
Nope, just want to say thanks for having us. It's always fun to talk to you guys and hang out with everybody's different perspectives. It's really cool.
Yep, it's what.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, this is helpful for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. I'm happy to participate.
Awesome.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. All right, we're going to wrap, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
See ya.
I'm still here.